Our session today will be on regression analysis. We want to understand how to answer this term project on calculating X correlation and interpreting the significance. So for us to better understand this, we must go to the basics. What is regression and correlation analysis? So these are core quantitative tools in managerial decision making. It reasons approaching quantitative methods. So it allows analysts or managers to examine relationships that exist between variables. It helps to predict outcomes. It helps to measure the strength of these associations and inform resource allocation, pricing, sales forecasting, and strategic planning. And so regression analysis focuses on modeling the independent and the dependent variables as a function of the model. Then we're also going to look at the correlation analysis, which measures the strength and direction of these relationships. So basic information you must understand is that of summarizing and summation of these computations. So before you compute any correlation analysis, these are essential computations. So summation of X is simply the sum of all independent values. So we have two types of values of what we call independent and dependent values. So our Y is always on this axis, our X is always on this axis. So we have positive relationships that are upsloping. We also have negative relationships that are downsloping. So the direction of these ones is measured by what is called R, which is a correlation of coefficient. So to calculate the regression equation, which is given by Y, is equal to A plus BX. So here we have a plus BX because the slope is upsloping. This curve is upsloping. So this is our regression equation. Or if the slope is negative sloping, our regression equation is given by Y is equal to A minus BX. So this is a regression equation that we have. So to calculate this, we need to understand how to find A and B. A and B. So the key terms or basic terms that we need to understand, number one, the sum of X. What is the sum of X? How do you find the sum of X? Number two, we must also be able to understand how to find the sum of Y. It's simply adding up all the dependent variables of Y. So this stands for the dependent variables, Y is for the dependent variables, and X stands for the independent variables. So dependent variable is the outcome, independent variable is the input. So if you're dealing with sales and advertising, for instance, how much of advertising will affect sales? So sales depend on advertising. So sales are the dependent variable, advertising is the input variable. So also we must understand how to get the sum of squares and the product of XY. These are basics. So I'll be teaching this. I've taught it before, and I'll teach it like I'm teaching it for the first time. So the regression model is given by Y is equal to A plus BX, where Y is a dependent variable, for instance, sales volume, and X is the independent variable, for instance, shopping size, the advertising, the input in short. Then B is a slope. It measures the change in Y per unit change in X. Then A is what we call the Y-intercept. It's simply the point that cuts the Y-axis. So this is our A. This is our B. And this is our equation. Y is equal to A plus BX. So this is how the regression equation looks like. So to calculate our A and our B, here are the formulas that we use. Calculate our A and B, these are the formulas that we use. So we can learn how to come up with the um, value of totals. Okay, formulas will be given to you, but you can use these formulas for now. So if you're given, for instance, the values of n as maybe 5, So how do you find the values of x, y? So we're just going to come up with the usual question that we usually use just for simplicity's sake. X and y. So given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have our y as 1, 1, 2, 2, and what? 4. So how do you find xy? You multiply our xy. So this one times that one is 1. This one by that one is 2. Then here we're multiplying 3 times 2, 6, 8, and what? 20. And here we have x squared. How do we find x squared? How do we find y squared? We're just squaring each of these ones here. So our x squared, we're squaring this part. This is 1 times 1, 1. 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 3, 9. 4 times 4, 16. 5 times 5, 25. Then we go to the next column. 1 times 1, 1. 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 3, 9. 4 times 4, 16. 5 times 5, 25. All right, then we're going to total up here. What is the total here? 15. That's a summation of x. So summation of x is simply summing up this whole entire. What is summation of y? 10.
I think values in sum of y squared are not properly computed.
1, 1 times 1. Oh, okay, thank you. What are the correct values? The values of y? 1 times 1, 1. 1 times 1, 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 4. And here 16. Then xy here, when you total up here, we have what? 37. This is summation of xy. Summation of y here, we have what? 55. Summation of x squared is 55. And summation of y here, what do we get? 26. Summation of y squared. Are we together so far on how to total up this table?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Um, Clear on how to total up and the like, but where did you get the values of y and x?
These ones are always given. Okay, you'll be given x and y, for instance. Yeah, they're just given. Okay,
Okay, also, do we
it's
have to
just an
master all
example.
these formulas or we are given
You'll be given the
during the
formulas,
exam?
but maybe we can master together. Regardless, but sometimes we'll be given formulas you're not familiar with. I don't know what formulas he gave you in class, but there are several formulas that can be used to getting the same answer. So these are the figures that have been given, and we are asked to calculate. So number one, we need to find what? Our regression equation. A, we can just say find y on x. B, after finding y on x, we'll ask you to predict y if x is what? Find y if x is equal to 10. So the row of predicting. Okay, find y if x is 10. Find y and x is equal to what? 10. Then number C, we ask you to find r and r squared and interpret. R and r squared and interpret. So now this is where the lesson comes from. So now I need your attention. So having gotten these totals here, are we together with the totals here? I'm going to do some um, preliminary calculations. So you're going to find 5 important things that will help you simplify the issue. So we have what we call our sum of xx. So this is a variation in x. Everything is all about x. So it's summation of x squared minus summation of x to the power 2 divided by n. So we also have sum of square yy. It's the opposite. Here, everywhere there's yy. There's y. Can somebody guess what's the summation of yy? Y squared minus summation of what? Y to the power what? 2 over n.
2 divided by n.
Okay, let's try summation of xy. We have xy on both angles. So here it's going to be what? Summation of xy minus summation of x times summation of y over n. So these are important preliminaries that will help you answer all the vital formulas. So let's try to calculate these ones based on what has been given. We have our n is what? 5. So here, what is summation of x squared?
It's 59.
55. Okay? 55
55.
minus what? Summation of x, which is 15 to the power 2 over what? Over 5.
5.
55 minus 15 squared divided by 5 is what? 45. So meaning
45.
s sum of squares xx is 10. Then let's do this one together. Sum of square yy. So summation of y, that is what? 26 minus what? So
26.
minus 10 squared.
What? Yes.
So 26 minus summation of x to the power 2 over n. So y to the power 2 over n. So the difference, this we don't square it, this we square it. So 26 minus 10 squared over 5 is equal to 26 minus what? Minus 20. So what do
20.
we get? A 6.
6.
And lastly, here, summation of xy, it's xy here is what? 37 minus summation of x is 15 times what? 10 over what? 5. So this will be 37 minus what? It's 30. So what do we have? 7. So we found
Amen.
3 things. What is our xx? 10. What is our
6.
xy? 6.
6,
And what is
seven,
our xy is 7. How about our yy?
7,
Our yy is what?
6.
6,
6. And our n?
5.
5. Our summation of x?
15,
Our summation of y?
10,
10.
10,
Summation of xy?
37.
10,
And our summation of x squared? And our summation of y squared?
26.
26.
6,
The other important things that you need to calculate is what? Our slope b. Our slope b is simply summation of what? What is our slope be?
X.
N summation of what?
X.
Xy minus summation of what?
X. Y.
X times summation of y over N summation of what? X squared minus summation of what? X to the power 2. This is a long method. The shortcut method, you just do summation of what? Xy over summation of what? Xx. What is summation of xy?
37.
7, correct. And summation of xx?
10.
10. So
10.
what becomes our b?
Let's see.
0.7, isn't it?
0.7, yes.
All right, you see that it's easy after you do the preliminaries, yeah?
Let's come again on the shortest formula.
It's simply xy over
Summation of
xx.
X. Yes.
Xy is 7, xx is what? 10. So it's xy is
10.
7 over 10.
Okay.
Yeah. All together?
Yes.
Then we have what we call our R, coefficient of regression, coefficient of correlation. It's given by xy over square root of xx times xy. This one substitutes that long formula we've been learning all along. This one is far easier. Xy over xx times yy. So what is our xy?
7.
Xx,
X is 10.
6,
10.
10. And yy?
6.
6. What do we get as a final answer?
Uh, 60.
It's 0.116.
0.903.
Yes.
7 over square root of 60.
Okay. Okay.
So R stands for coefficient of what? Correlation. So it's the
Determination. Oh,
correlation.
correlation.
So here it simply tells you that there's a positive relationship between X and Y. The relationship is what? Positive. When you square it, it becomes determination. What is the coefficient of determination? We just square. R squared simply measures the coefficient of the determination, just multiply R by R. So if we square the 0.903, what are we getting?
1.8.
0.817, right? So what does this mean?
Yes.
Multiply by 100 means 81.7% of Y is because of X. This is where correlation comes in. 81.7% of Y is due to X. In simple language, causality is happening here. It's a strong correlation. If it's above 50%, it means that there's strong correlation. So the contribution of Y is that 1% is coming from X. So if this was advertising, 81% of the advertising influenced that. All right. Then what is the regression equation therefore? We need to find the what? The intercept, the cutting point. So summation of y for n minus b summation of what? X over n. So what is our summation of y? What is the summation of y? 10 over 5 minus our b is what? Our slope is what? 0.7.
0.7.
Okay. Then summation of x is what? 15 over 5. So what do we have here?
Just
2 minus what? 0.7
4.7.
over 15 over what? 2, which is what? 3. So what becomes our answer? Negative 0.1. This is our A. So who remembers what's the formula for the regression equation? A is equal to
y.
y.
Uh,
Y is equal to what?
Y is equal to a plus b x.
A plus bx, correct. What is our A?
0.1.
Negative 0.1
0.1.
plus where there's B, we put what? 0.7.
B was
0.7.
0.7.
Okay. So this is our first question. Find the regression equation. Or some questions say find x, y on x. Okay, are we together on the regression equation?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Does it feel easier than what we've been looking at?
Seems.
It's easier, but it's a lot.
A lot, yes.
Maybe
That's why I
if you
encourage
can
you to
make
always watch my videos because it limits. But I have the best way of summarizing things. In all honesty, this
Mhm.
is quite a lot,
Mm.
but I'm trying to simplify it as much as
Mm.
possible to avoid talking about jargon. So the first part, find the regression equation. The second
Okay.
point, find what? Y if x is 10. So here just simply what? Substitute if x is 10. So where there's x, what we put? 10, right? So here
yes.
we are predicting the role of regression in terms of predicting. So negative 0.1 plus 0. What? 7.
7
Where there's x, we put what? 10.
times 10.
So the final
10.
answer will be 6.9. So it means that if your sales is 10 million, maybe your advertising 10 million, maybe your sales will be 6.9 billion. Then part C, find R and R squared and interpret. Find R and R squared and interpret. What was our R? We already calculated it. Our R was what? 0.903. What does it mean?
903.
Means X and Y are what? Positively related. It's a sign that we're really interested here. So X and Y are positive or directly related. Is that clear?
On the
Yes.
interpretation part,
So the coefficient of
maybe
correlation
you can
is what
explain
we
further.
call our R. R is coefficient of correlation. It just tells you the direction in which X and Y are um, interlinked. So if it's a negative, you say they're negatively or inversely related. If they're positive, they're positively or directly related. Examples of inverse relationships is demand. Demand has an inverse relationship because R is always negative. Then R squared, you cannot get a negative, it's always positive. It just measures the extent to which your strength is related. So if our R squared 0 to 30%, this is weak relationship. 0 to 20%, weak relationship. About 20 to 50%, moderate relationship. Okay? About more than 50%, that is a strong relationship. If more than 50%, okay, that is what? Strong relationship. Are we together?
Mm.
So it just measures what? The relationships that we have. So here we are 0.8167. So here we can say 81.7% of y is because of what? X. Are we together?
Mhm.
Anyone behind?
Collins, what's the benchmark for coefficient of correlation in terms of determining whether it's weak, moderate, or strong?
Okay. That's what I'm just from giving you the ranges. Of
I
course,
thought this is coefficient
for
of
exam purposes,
determination.
you just mentioned
Is it
the,
not coefficient of determination?
pardon?
I thought we were
Egg?
talking about coefficient of determination. I'm asking about coefficient of
No,
correlation.
Samba. Oh, okay.
Please mute yourselves in the background. Coefficient of correlation ranges between -1 and positive 1. So it's the closer you are to positive 1, it means these are perfect, um, perfectly positive. Okay? Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Mhm. So,
But I think maybe the best would be, so this is like an actual question that we can now practice.
yes, it's just a practice question. So we can now go to, it makes my life easy when I'm going to doing the term test.
The
So
actual. Oh, okay.
are we together before I proceed?
Yes.
Okay. So now if you're going to look at the term test, just smile at it when it comes say, what? This is lecture serious? This is walkover. Okay, so compute the sum of x and y. Who does that? And this one is coming. What is x squared, y squared, xy? Who does 10 marks? Can you imagine? Calculate the coefficient of determination given that b is this. Is the coefficient of determination significant? What is the expression for your answer? Huh? So I don't know whether we want to participate in answering that, or it's too easy to be done by me. Any questions so far?
I think it would be better. Let's now do the actual one together.
Yeah, I think let's do the actual one together.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we were
Yes.
proposing that we do it together.
Okay, you're proposing that you are spoon-fed, in short.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so now we can use the concepts. Let's answer together. So given that, what do we do first?
We make a table for
Okay,
X and Y.
for x and y. Okay. So we make a table for x and y. Can we do that together? So x and y. Those that have the pamphlet, I think we can also quickly refer to the pamphlet for us to be fast. A minute. Hope my screen is clear. I'd given you homework some time back on this particular question. So those that had attempted it, be quick to, because this question is coming exactly as it is. All right. So let's use what you had calculated. So you do the x, the independent and the dependent variables in terms of x and y. Then what is our x? What is our y there? Let's go to page 11. Just for the sake of being quick. Then I hope you get the concepts quickly from there. The values of x and y, we just tabulate this. We haven't been asked. So what's the summation of x? Summation of x is simply adding these. Summation of y is simply adding that. So what is the total on x and what's the total on y? You have your calculators there. We also learned that you can easily calculate these using a calculator by entering all the data at once. At least give me the summation of x and y, then I'll confirm your answer. So I'll remove there. I don't want to completely spoon feed you.
So the summation of x is 1696.
1696. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Then summation of y is 99.3.
9.3. Okay. We agree. Then xy.
Yes.
What is our xy?
xy I'm finding 31,749.
Xy is that what?
31,749.
749. X squared and y squared. Those who are taught using the calculator, where you can still use a calculator way to really get those ones. Okay, so in the interest of time, let me spoon feed you. I think people are tired. All right, so summing them up, you just need to go to page 15, those with the pamphlet. You can get these values confirmed. So summing them up literally is just adding them. Summation of x, we add from 40 up until, so we get 1696. Then summation of y is 99.3, correct, as has been given. We find this summation of x squared, we square each individual entry. 40 squared up until there, we get 70, 56. That is our summation of x squared. And summation of y squared, we get 1822.79. Okay. Then we also do our xy by, you can use the tabular method. We compute that by multiplying the values of x and the values of y. We're going to find the following. So our xy will be the following here. That one, now r squared, you can use summation of xy the way we calculated it. So these are the formulas we've just been using. So xy and xx, then when you compute this, we get our b, we get also our r. So I need you to do them the way I have taught you, so it sticks in your mind, and I need those solutions before lunchtime. Okay, I'll give you the snippet of these answers, but I need you to redo it in your own way. In the meantime, I have another class to rush to now, management theory in practice. So end here, but I want you to do that work.